This weekend, I entered my biggest GLC tournament yet, one with a prize pool of $200 for top 4. I wanted to test out how crazy the new Fan Rotom from Stellar Crown actually is, because I thought it made Colorless the best deck, bar none. Its ability, Fan Call, lets you search your deck for 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less, but only on your first turn. This ability is even more powerful than format staple Buddy Buddy Poffin. Not only that, but it's stapled onto a Pokemon, meaning Fan Rotom is searchable through a myriad of items, and I ran 10 searchers to make sure I could find it on the first turn. Furthermore, it makes Colorless great at going first or second, since Fan Rotom's 70 damage attack is akin to other aggressive starters, such as Lightning's Zapdos. While I would like to go over the deck itself for the majority of the video, I'd like to point out the matchups I played against during the big tournament. Notably, I played against Hitmoncombo fighting with Okidogi twice and won both games. The deck was built with this matchup in mind, and I'm happy to report that the countermeasures were effective, with Canceling Cologne netting a much needed KO on an Okidogi before its rampage could get started. Now let's get on with the goal of the deck. This build started with 2 premises. Snorlax is the best attacker in GLC, and Fan Rotom is the best setup support Pokemon. Thus, the latter supports the former. If we can start attacking by turn 2 with Snorlax, not many decks can catch up. The first goal of the deck is to find Snorlax and attach it with an energy. Fan Rotom facilitates this all by itself, searching any of Bidoof, Skwovet, Wingull, Dunsparce, and Ditto. Bidoof evolves into Bibarel, and combined with Skwovet, it guarantees that we see a fresh new hand every turn, and insulates the deck from hand disruption, such as Marnie and Aino. Where it starts to get weird is Wingull and its evolution, Pelipper. Pelipper's ability, Hearsay, lets you either search your deck for a supporter, or recur a supporter from the discard pile. This ability is crazy. In this deck, I would compare it to a slightly weaker Drizzile. That is because it almost guarantees a turn 2 attack with Snorlax, either by searching Mina for a third energy if we missed an energy attachment on turn 1, or by searching a special energy via Guzma and Hala or Colress's Tenacity. Another odd choice was Dunsparce and Dunsparce over Make Deuce and Chino. The reason is twofold. I wanted to limit the amount of gust and spread KOs the opponent could get, and Dunsparce has free retreat. If the goal is to attack with Snorlax every turn, we need a pivot that we can switch into with a card, then switch back in manually. Finally, Ditto serves as both another copy of Fan Rotom and a searchable tutor for Snorlax. Having this setup, where I'm constantly finding energy to attack while maintaining a hand size of around 8 cards, means that Hex Maniac barely does anything to this deck. I will still likely be able to find what I need to attack after a KO due to sculpting my hand before a Hex. Searching for an entire deck's worth of engine pieces isn't the only boon of Fan Rotom. It also has a powerful attack in Assault Landing, which does 70 for a single energy as long as you have a Stadium up. This attack can be set up with Colress's Tenacity and Guzma and Hala by searching for Artisan and Jet Energy. Fan Rotom's final amazing trait is one of the easiest to overlook. It's minus 30 fighting resistance. Against Hitmoncombo, this prevents all damage from Hitmonchan's hit and run, an important early game pressure tool. And with Muscle Band, Fan Rotom one-hit KOs both Hitmonchan and Hitmontop. Now that we've gone over the strengths of the main strategy, let's look at some of the odd tech choices. If you aren't familiar with Colorless, the lone Bunnelby might look out of place, but this isn't an ordinary Bunnelby, it has an ancient trait, which is an old mechanic from Primal Clash. It's an innate attribute on Bunnelby, meaning it's not an ability nor a rulebox, but its own mechanic entirely. This particular Bunnelby can attack twice, which is useful generally, but especially when combined with Technical Machine Crisis Punch. In a pinch, Bunnelby can use Crisis Punch to deal a whopping 280 damage twice, enough to make a miraculous comeback. The stadium choices are a bit odd as well. In particular, Lost City is spooky to use in GLC, considering it's a double-edged sword. However, it wins certain matchups such as Hitmoncombo fighting and Lost Zone Psychic single-handedly by removing their ace Pokemon. Lost City also has uses in removing anti-Snorlax techs such as Mimikyu and Zoroark, which can one-hit KO Snorlax by copying its Thumping Snore attack. Furthermore, it solves the colorless stalemate issue outlined by Z-Man Cuddles in his video, where 2 colorless players avoid taking the 5th prize card for fear of Crisis Punch Bunnelby taking the final 2 prize cards. By threatening a deck out with Bunnelby's Burrow attack, I can bait out the opposing Bunnelby and send it to the Lost Zone. Another strange option is Giant Hearth. While it is not particularly out of place, running it with 2 fire energy is. The This has to do with attacking with Fan Rotom. Giant Earth fulfills both its energy and stadium conditions for attacking, in which case I don't mind only searching for one energy if the other is prized. Furthermore, finding even just one fire energy facilitates the use of both Raihan and Mela for the rest of the game. Finally, Giant Earth can discard an energy later in the game if you need one in the discard pile, or drawing one more card with Bibarrel. If I were to change anything, I'd look at cutting red card. I thought having at least one form of hand disruption would be important, but simply shuffling the opponent's hand back in did not turn out to be very useful if it wasn't on the first turn. I'm currently trying out Greedent in its place, since it can search for HP boosting tools early game, and Crisis Punch for your finisher. It could even search Rescue Scarf if Velocity becomes popular, since it can save Snorlax from being sent to the Shadow Realm. Overall, I'm excited that the theory behind the deck panned out. I'd love to see more decks built to trim the fat and really push what they're good at. What do you think about Colorless after Stellar Crown? Do you think it's the best deck, or overrated? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe so we can talk more about this amazing format.